This episode is brought to you by Loot Crate, the monthly subscription box for geeks, gamers, and pop culture nerds. We want to believe, with the revival of the X-Files that we've all been waiting for, there's never been a better time for an invasion. An alien invasion, that is. Packed with the thrill of an extraterrestrial encounter, this month's Loot Crate features exclusive items from the X-Files, Alien, The Fifth Element, and Space Invaders, plus some classic sci-fi goodies. We can tell you this, the loot is out there. You only have until the 19th at 9 p.m. Pacific to subscribe and receive that month's crate. And when the cutoff happens, that's it. It's over, Jack. So go to lootcrate.com/KFGames and enter code KFGames to save $3 on your new subscription today. Moving on to the final topic, the big one. Kind of Funny Games, Game of the Year 2015. Let's start this off just by talking about what is that?
What do we do?
What does that even mean? You know? Do you have any thoughts in your head of what that should look like? Because what we did last year, it was on January 5th, actually. We put out a first Gamescast topic. I think the first Gamescast topic ever was, what's the Game of the Year 2015?
Yeah.
Or 2014. And we all just kind of gave our
personal ones.
Our one personal one, and that was it.
Sure.
We could do that again. Or we could do that and then kind of
pick
argue
one
about what the one Kind of Funny Games one is, or I don't know. Nick, what's your Game of the Year?
Metal Gear.
Okay, Nick's is Metal Gear. So just so everyone knows.
So it was down to Metal Gear and Axiom Verge.
No, it wasn't. Axiom Verge is a great game, but it was down to Metal Gear and Arkham.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, you played Arkham too. I forgot about that.
Which was phenomenal, and I agree with it.
Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry. We hear you. We love you.
I gotta give it 6 to Metal Gear.
All right. Metal Gear.
So,
I mean, I don't know. Like, the thing about it is, I appreciate one award. You know what I mean? But the problem is, like, are we those? Is that what we are? No. I mean, I think, honestly, I guess we did that, though. I was going to say what we should do is what we did at E3, where we put up all the individual faces, so we each had one, but then we did come down to a game of the show there. It's just one of those things of, I like celebrating, and like what you just said, you want to argue about it? No, under no fucking... I hate that. I hate saying, I love this game, and somebody being like, well, I didn't, and me being like, well, Colin doesn't like mustard, and I do, but I don't think we're going to sit here and decide if mustard's the condiment of the year.
Yeah, it was always, kind of knowing how the sausages was made, having voted on Game of the Year many times, it just doesn't mean anything, really. At the end of the day, it's just, we can celebrate several games, or we can each have our own individual game, which I think makes sense. And I just think that it's just an old way of looking at things. You know, in my opinion, it's why can't there be 3 or 5 games of the year?
Yeah.
Why does everything?
People like ranking things, you know? I get it.
I respect that, and I appreciate that.
But what I do like about the way we do things, and we even do this when we review movies or review games or stuff, we don't give the score. We just discuss it.
Yeah.
And I think I like the idea of Kind of Funny's Game of the Year being the discussion. You know, it's like us kind of just putting it all out there. Now we all put out our 10 favorite, but it's like I feel like I want to hear each of your kind of internal debates on what is Game of the Year.
For us personally.
Yes.
Sure. Mine's Metal Gear, and there's no debate. There's literally nothing that I thought held a candle to it. And that's always funny to say, because I know I was looking at the chat when we were going, like, did any of them play Undertale? It's like, no, we didn't. You know what I mean? And that's on my list of shit to play, just like Life is Strange is. But
again, Life is Strange and Undertale, the two that I'm like, people keep recommending. Yeah. I'm like, oh shit, that actually does.
Right. But it's just one of those things, you can't play everything. You're drawn to what you're drawn to, all these different things. And I kept waiting and thinking, and, I was like, all right, knowing Batman was coming, I was like, for me, it was like, I remember saying Witcher's my game of the year, right? When it was Witcher, and I kept saying because of where we are.
You put Dying Light,
you put a gun,
and then Witcher,
exactly, because you go as you go, because you actually play things, and games start coming out, and so, but Witcher, and that's what's weird. I always feel like if we were talking about internal debate, if we were at IGN still, and we were sitting around the table and stuff, it comes down to what are the nominees, where are we coming, where do we vote? You know what I mean? And that's when I feel, and this is where I always, a lot of people don't agree with me on this. That's where you put on your critic hat a bit more, I think, you know what I mean? Where it's like, all right, well, Witcher didn't connect with me, but as looking at the game and this, that, and the other, I can see the scope and why people love it and da-da-da-da. Maybe that gets into the argument. But for me, when we're talking about our favorites and how Kind of Funny, and for my personal game of the year, nothing got close to Metal Gear. No game captured my attention more. I didn't have more fun with a game for those amount of hours. It's just so weird, because it's just, on paper, I shouldn't like Metal Gear that much. You know what I mean? It doesn't have Hater, who is Snake to me. It doesn't have the Metal Gear story, which is what Metal Gear is to me. but it has this gameplay that I just can't get enough of. And like, you know, it's one of those things. Nick always gives me crap over there. He's like, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, you're never going to platinum Metal Gear though, right? And I'm like, no, I'm going to platinum. Like Metal Gear is a game I will legitimately get back to. And it's not just one of those like, oh, I really wish I could get back to The Witcher. And I think about it like, no, there's going to be a plan one day to do it, but I'm just in no hurry for it. But I know I'm ready whenever it has a chance.
Yeah, what you were saying about the critic thing, like I do that a lot too, because I like to think about games as a whole, and that's kind of why we do this show, you know. And for me, when I was thinking about Game of the Year, I'm like, all right, what am I gonna say, you know? And I feel like there's the obvious answer for me, Mario Maker,
Sure.
right? Then there's the other answer that's like, oh well, Tim also really likes Metal Gear Solid 5, so that makes sense. But in terms of the Game of the Year, if I had to do the critic thing and like the IGN thing, I think Rocket League is the Game of the Year.
There's
just in
definitely
the
an
sense
argument
that
there.
That is, I'd say, the game of 2015. Like,
Sure.
so many people love it so much, and it connected with so many people that it's like Kanye West. You know, when he has a year, whether or not you like him, it's like he's the artist of the year. Everybody's talking about it,
trending
whatever.
gamer of
And
the
I
year.
think that Rocket League's a great example of that. Came out of nowhere. It has all the recipes for what, you know, the game of the year. If there's one game you're going to play this year, you should know about this,
Yep.
you know? And I think that's a great nominee. Having said that, it didn't connect with me in that way.
Yeah.
Like we did the Let's Plays and stuff, and it's very fun. I feel like if I gave that game more time and if I played it on one screen instead of a split screen and all that stuff and just kind of sank some time into it, I feel like I would fall in love with it.
Totally. Rocket League is definitely one of those two ships in the night kind of thing. Because we had been this game's great. You know, Colin came back and told me, hey, Jeremy's game is really good. And I was like, really? And then we played it, and then they came onto the stream, and we had so much fun playing it locally. And we were talking a big game about it coming out. Like, we're going to play a lot of this, and we're going to do this. But then it came out right in the heat of, okay, now we're going to a million conventions. This and like, it would be one of those things you'd come back and like, we'd all get back and you just want some alone time. You put that game in, but you're getting your teeth kicked in. Like there was games where I jumped in and played and I was just getting destroyed. And it's like, I know why this game's fun, but in the same way of like when Mitch is like, Dota gets really good 15 hours in. I'm like, I don't have time to get good enough at this to have that fun. I want fun now. You know what I mean?
And yeah, for me, I feel like I could have that fun now. Even if I put the 2 hours in, it's just that never happens. But I do think that the Rocket League, I want to give the critic in me the nod for like,
Sure.
I think that would be a good vote.
Sure, I definitely think that's a contender.
But yeah, having said that, for me, it is between Mario Maker and Metal Gear Solid. And I've been debating this in the shower a lot because I was like, I knew we were doing this show, and I was like, I don't know what I want to put out there if I had to choose one. Because my thing is, Mario Maker is everything I ever wanted. It's just unlimited Mario, whether it's Mario 1, 3, World,
Yeah.
or New Super Mario Bros. And it's like, that's crazy. Like, I would have never thought we'd get that officially from Nintendo. Yeah, we get the ROM hacks and all that stuff, but like, this is just unlimited Mario made by awesome people doing different things. And then the thing that sold me on the game even more is when I realized it's not just Mario. It's not just Mario levels. These are Mario levels that are made, at least early on, without checkpoints, which changes it drastically. You know, this is Mario where you're playing Mario 1, but you can go left. You know? You can make it more vertical. You can do all these things. And it's like people started fucking with the physics of what a Mario game is. And all of a sudden these became Mario challenges instead of Mario levels.
Yeah.
Because levels you need to build and learn things to be able to pass the next level and whatever. This is just you have one level to teach you all that and go through that kind of difficulty curve and like, you know, just trial and error and teaching you things. And the reward system is a per level basis. And I'm like, man, that's awesome. It's not just making Mario games. It's doing something different, or it could be that, you know? And so I'm like, that's why I give that a lot of credit that I don't think a lot of people see. Metal Gear Solid though, I mean, again, just right, like you were saying, it's like, I think of Metal Gear, I think of story, and that's exactly what I want. And I love Metal Gear Solid 4 because that story was just pure fan service to me of just, hey, I'm going to wrap things up. This is the most over the top and stupid thing ever. But at that point, that's what Metal Gear was to me. And I'm like, great. Then you get 5 and it's like, oh man, that's not there at all. But it's like, for some reason, I'm still addicted to this. And the gameplay loop, all that stuff, we don't need to talk about that again. But what I do want to say about it is that unlike a lot of the games, I like simple games. You know, I like games that I'm like, the gameplay is just impeccable. This is great. I talk about Amplitude, right? I talk about Mario or Shovel Knight or stuff like that. Those are simpler games at the end of the day. But it's like, and Rocket League, whatever. If it's a simple game, it's fun to play, whatever. Metal Gear Solid is addicting and rewarding, and it's not simple. It's a 3D world. There's a lot going on, and all of the systems feel right. all of the little things are fun to do. It's not like there's a thing where like, I don't want to do this again. You know,
I'm waiting for my damn resources to process.
well, that in terms of platinums,
I know.
you're
I'm
getting into
screwing
into a
around,
different
screwing
thing.
around.
But like,
Ha
every time they taught me something new, I thought I was going to hate it. And then I didn't. And then I loved it. And that all happened so fast. And the gameplay is fun and it's not simple. That's I think at the end of the day, I got to give my nod to Metal Gear Solid because it did something in 2015 that other games didn't. And I think that that was a new thing. It made more complicated gameplay addicting and fun for me.
I played Metal Gear for about 10 hours over the break, and it just wasn't for me. So I don't really have much valid information to say about it because I didn't dump.
No, this is about you. This is your time. This is your game.
Nearly dump enough time into it. No, I just wanted to say that like I did give it a go, and it's just not what I'm looking for. I didn't. I can see, as I said, I think on Colin and Greg Live or maybe on PSL Love, I don't really remember at this point. I said I could see that the systems are deep and there's like a lot to do in the game. I don't necessarily know that that's Metal Gear to me. And so I didn't personally find the gameplay to be above and beyond the best third person shooters that I played by any stretch of the imagination. So to me, it was, I was like, okay, this is fine. I think I can see it. I loved, as I said, I fucking loved the intro and what I was so disappointed about when you're walking into the hospital and the fucking guy on fire and the Psycho Mantis type character, or whatever. I'm like, this is so fucking cool. And then it just rips you out of it, you know? And I'm like, why? Why did you rip me out of that? Like, that was fucking awesome. That's Metal Gear. You know, and that was, it almost, playing it and actually experiencing it almost made me angry. It's like, God damn it. Like 10 to 12 hours of that is a Metal Gear game. Yeah. And suddenly I'm in an open world. I'm like, okay, like, why am I here? So I went through all the missions and I found, doing some side quests and kind of just experimenting and faulting, that's what it's called, right?
Yeah.
Guys out and experimenting a little bit with the equipment and all that kind of stuff and making new things. And to me, I was just like, there was no gravity there anymore to me. I was like, this isn't what I was looking for. That first hour, that first 90 minutes, God damn it, that was fucking rad. You know, and I wish that it was more like that. So that's kind of where I'm coming from with that. But I respect your guys' opinion, and I also respect that I didn't play it for a fraction of the time you guys played it as well. But that was that. I almost wish I didn't play it anyway. Like at this point, because I'm like, there was always this like je ne sais quoi about it, where I was like, I'm sure that I like this.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to play it. I'm not going to get to it. And then when I finally got to it, I was like, damn it, I shouldn't have played it. But man, that first hour and a half, I was fucking in it. I loved it. To me, it's like you have to like whittle down what I'm like the games on my list. Mega Man Collection, Shovel Knight, Uncharted Collection removed. A game like Zero Drifter I thought was a lot of fun, but I wouldn't vote for. Witcher 3 is fun, but it's got a lot of flaws. I wouldn't vote for. So you're left with to me 3 games come to mind. Really, you got to go to Rocket League. You got to go to Dying Light. And you could really even end the conversation there. I would even consider something like Until Dawn, just based on the resonance of the experience. And then you could talk a little bit about Mad Max or like, whatever you want to talk about. But I really think it probably comes to Rocket League. Dying Light, I'm not comfortable. We make our own rules, right? So I put games that I didn't beat on my list that I spent a lot of time with, and Dying Light was one of those games. But I feel like if I'm gonna give it that extra nod, I have had to have seen it all, and I didn't. The game could fall off a fucking cliff for all I know. But I liked what I played. Rocket League is a game, unlike Greg, who like was just traveling and didn't realize 2 ships in the night. I actually did play that game a lot, and I played it online a lot, and I played against the computer a lot, and I played multi a little or locally a little bit. And we played it a lot before it came out, so So it's probably the game overall where I would be like, well, Dying Light's probably the game of the year for me if I was comfortable saying that, having seen the entire game. And you can go to Mad Max and be like, well, Mad Max really gave me what I was looking for. That was a game I sunk a lot of time into because I just enjoyed playing it. I just thought it was fun. And I like those games where it's just slowly whittling away, like we talked about over and over again, that Ubisoft style map sections that are dark red, and then they go pink and light red, and then they're white, and they're clear, and you got everything, and there's fucking 8 billion collectibles. I like that kind of shit.
Yeah, collectathons are great.
Not always, but I like that. I mean, that's why I play Far Cry, because Far Cry is better, I think, than Mad Max in the sense that it's got superb gameplay as well in all senses. So I think I would settle on. I think I would probably settle on Rocket League, but I don't know. I don't know if it's really important. There was a few games that I really, really enjoyed, but I think in terms of solid gameplay, I think in terms of resonance, I think in terms of performance, I think in terms of staying power, which I think Rocket League clearly has, that it's probably my game of the year. Yeah.
I mean, that's good. I think that
I mean, we've overthought it.
Yeah.
Kind of funny games of the year.
Damn. Oh, I like that.
You see what I did there? Because we're kind of funny games.
Yeah, we
You
are.
just put of the year, and you give multiple games to do.
It's good. It's really good. I enjoyed this. I thought this was a good episode.
I do
overall.
too.
I hope people liked it.
I'm sure they did. Let us know in the chat if you're watching live.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Kind of Funny Gamescast, the first and last ever episode 52 of this big, beautiful show. Come back next week where we're gonna be back to a normal show.
Yeah, back in the other room. This
back
studio.
in the other room, and also like this is the last. I don't even know what we're gonna do next week because the last couple weeks we've been knowing what we're doing because it's been like wrapping up things and going from there.
I know.
What?
Steve Gaynor will be here.
You are right.
So he'll talk about a bunch of stuff. Not just Gone Home. And then he'll talk about the games with us and whatever happening in gaming.
Tacoma.
I'm in space.
Gone Home in space. A coming of age story in space. As
Yeah,
far as
I know.
understand.
Yeah, save it. Gone Home's out soon.
You can get that episode early. Patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. And speaking of Patreon, you can go to patreon.com/kindoffunny to help us support Kind of Funny, the animated series. We're trying to make it happen. Last I checked, we crossed the 45K mark, which means 6 episodes are funded. We're trying to get to 75 by the end of January.
Yeah, remember again to stress this.
To make sure that people know out there, it's only for January. So $75,000, yes, that is a lot of money that we're asking for. But it is all going to animation. Animation, very expensive. We want to do this right. Once February comes, back to normal. We're just going back to the normal Patreons. You guys can change your tiers to whatever. So for all of you that are already on Patreon, you're like, I want to support this project just for January. If you want to go higher, great. If no one wants to, that's cool too.
What we keep saying is if everybody who's giving us $1 on Patreon gave us $4 more, we'd hit it. We'd be done.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, that's different.
Yeah. Well, then we'd have a
even
lot
less.
more. We'd have a lot of money. But I mean, there's some guys who can't give more than $1, and I understand that, and you don't have
Or
to.
no dollars. It doesn't matter. Like, if you want to support the show, go to youtube.com/kindoffunny. Leave a nice comment. It'll make me happy.
Yeah.
Until next time,